Okay. So, February of this year, my husband was off work for quadruple bypass. We lost our home we'd had for 3 years. We didn't get unemployment. He didn't qualify for unemployment when everybody else, oh, COVID, ooh, we're going to stop and we're not going to work. And they qualify for COVID unemployment pay. But my husband, who has worked all his life, did not qualify. They basically told him, so what, no big deal, you're having quadruple bypass. You can still go get a job. What? A job? Seriously? I don't get it. That was like mind blown. Okay, moving on. We lose our home. Can't even cry about it at that point. Pack up, move in with my daughter. Thankfully had a place to go. Husband makes it through surgery. He's good and he's good going. DOT though. 90 days off when you crack open your chest. Okay, so what? He's off. We'll get through it. Loses his job because the company, he didn't have any more sick time. So they had to do what they had to do. They had to let him go, but he could have went back. They still hound him to this day to come back. He doesn't want to go back. And I don't want him to either. Anyway, that spring we went fishing. I caught a cold. My granddaughter got a cold. We passed it back and forth. Just like now she's giving me a cold again. Could not get rid of that cold. And it settled into my lungs. And I am the last person to take care of myself. I take care of everybody else, and I don't take care of myself. I don't go to the doctor. I hate going to the doctor. I have been mistreated by doctors. I have been badly abused, like neglected, like verbally, mentally, like they're always mean to me. Nurses, whatever department it is, they treat me like I'm crap. And then my husband gets treated like he's king of the world, and he gets treated really, really good. So I'm like, I don't want to go to the doctor. So I did an over-the-phone consultation with the nurse practitioner, and I was like, hey, my asthma, it's that time of year. My asthma's, gone into upper respiratory. This cold hasn't went away. Never even crossed my mind that it would be pneumonia. We do the steroids, the nebs. We do antibiotics. It didn't work. I was like, uh-oh. So my husband gets sick. He never gets sick. Never, ever gets sick. I've been with him 30 years. This man has been sick like 3 times. The flu. He's coughing. He's achy. He's tired. He's grouchy. I said, you got a man cold. But the cough wouldn't go away. And I said, okay, you need to call your doctor, because let's just make sure you're okay. It's probably bronchitis. You're going to need meds. He goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you have every symptom of COVID. And I'm like, what? So he gets tested, promptly comes back COVID. Okay, we have nowhere to quarantine him in the house. There is my husband, myself, my daughter, her husband, and their 2 kids, and their roommate. Where was we supposed to put him? In the garage? Hindsight, we should have, but it was too late. It was too late. I went and tested. I tested negative, but I was still sick. My daughter went and tested. She tested negative. Thought, okay. Then my daughter looks at me and says, Mom, you probably got pneumonia. That's when it went off in my head. I get it every 3 years, and always in the summertime. So I call, the doctor, and I'm like, hey, I tested negative. I'm sure it's, this is what it is. We're coming into a holiday in May. Was that Memorial Day? I couldn't get in with my doctor. It was going to be a 2 more day wait. We got to the point I hate going to the ER. That's like high anxiety to go to the ER. I'd rather wait for my doctor. We go to the ER, and this is a point when you're going in with anything respiratory. Basically, you dropped off the door. Your loved ones cannot come in with you. They have to leave you there, wait in the parking lot. They have to go home, whatever. You call, ring, ring, ring. Hey, I'm done. I did not know that. When they told me that he could not come in and stay with me, even though I could not breathe and did not realize I was on death's door, I walked out of that ER and I said, I'm going home. We'll wait for the doctor. A day and a half later, I could not breathe. Like coughing, could not catch breath. Neb treatments were not working. I was coughing so bad I was vomiting. I was peeing myself. No control over your body. At 5 that morning, not being able to breathe, stumbled out of bed, got dressed, packed a bag, drove myself to the ER. Like I said, my friend was working the desk. She knew who I was. Her eyes were like, oh God, something's wrong. I did not have to tell her my name. She knew who, gave them all my information. And she got, the nurse, they came, got me, went back, did the intake. Blood work, no swab. Everything came back positive for COVID. Very, very quickly. Sent me down. I get short of breath. My lungs are damaged. They sent me down for a chest x-ray. Just wasn't pneumonia. It was double lung. And it was bad. They immediately had a passel of people. Like a whole block of team came in. Had a guy come in, IV in the left arm. Immediately oxygen on. Whisked me down for an MRI with dye. No blood clots, thankfully. Back in the room, and he's like, so where do you want to go? And I said, I want to go home. And he says, no. He says, I think you're going to get a bed at the inn upstairs. He says, do you want to go to Springfield or you want to stay here? And I was like, I want to stay here. And in hindsight, I should have just went to Springfield to the bigger hospital from the start. It may have shortened what I had went through if I would have went to the bigger hospital compared to what I had to go through. And I would not wish this on anybody I loved or cared about or liked. Now, if I hated you, maybe. Don't know. Depends on how much I hate you. I chose to stay in our local hospital, our local hospital is not really equipped for what was about to happen to me. I was whisked off to a room, completely locked away. It was a nice room. I had a view of the trees and a air conditioner unit, I guess. Power unit, maybe. I don't know. They locked you in. You didn't get to see your loved ones. There was no visitors. You basically sat in this room begging to see your loved ones. And all you could do was FaceTime them. And I'm telling you, there's got to be a better way with COVID. Being able to handle at least one person coming in as a visitor. Because we really need a visitor. You need to see your loved ones. And that's what I kept telling them. That you need that. It's important for rehabilitation. It's good for your mental status. It keeps your morale high. And I was in there a week, and they thought I had gotten better. And they're like, yeah, you go home. So again, security covered me with blanket head to toe, and I had to go out the back way. Couldn't be around people. They left. I was on oxygen, 3 liters of oxygen at that time. I went home, and a day and a half later, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe on 3 liters of oxygen. I had such a bad fever that I was crippled over, and the core of my body just hurt. I thought I was dying. I had never hurt so bad. Labor was horrible for me. This was worse than labor. Like I said, I would not wish this on anybody I cared about and loved. Nobody I cared about and loved. Nobody. This is not fun, and it's nothing to joke about. I had the oxygen on, 3 liters of oxygen, and I put my CPAP on, and I still could not breathe. Sorry, my cat is over here playing under the tree. I went to the bathroom. I had to pee. But I was coughing so hard that, again, could not control, was vomiting, peeing myself, could barely make it from my bed to the bathroom and back. That's how bad it was. Heart just pounding. And I felt like I was drowning in choppy water. I don't know if you've ever been on a boat and been through the choppy water. It's like boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. This is what I went through. Sitting on the edge of my bed, thinking this is it. This is how I'm going to die. I looked at my daughter and I said, call your father. He was out door dashing. That's what we were doing for supplemental income. And she said, Mom needs to go back to the ER. She can't breathe. I looked at my daughter and I said, I'm not going to make it from here to the Jeep. She had to call 911. After calling the paramedics, they beat my husband home. He just stood there, the look of fear in his face, concern. And I didn't know what was going to happen to me. They put their oxygen on me, an E-tank, which I have those now for when I go out. I'm on home concentrator in the house. And it was like 4 liters. 4. Just little 4 liters of oxygen, and I could breathe. My O2 before they got there was 66 and dropping. I did not realize how sick I was. And I don't think I've ever ridden in an ambulance before. The paramedics were super. They were courteous. They were caring. They were respectful. Our fire and rescue that came, I don't have bad words to say about them at all. I really don't. They actually saved my life. And I do, even though that was back in May and June, I need to send them a card. And I actually have a card, but it is so hard for me to get out and about. I really do need to get that card to them and let them know. We appreciate what they did.